Here we are, Carl, man. Thanks so much for just taking the time to jump on with me. I'm really excited. So listen, I'm going to brag on you for a minute. So don't be too embarrassed, but people need to know. Top team of the year, best of Zillow, Mega Icon Award, #1 mega real estate team in the state of Iowa, 472 units sold last year. I mean, and more. And there's more to it, I know. And then you decided to rock the boat, leave eXp, and move to Epique Realty. What the heck?
Yeah, man, that's kind of what I've been thinking for the last little bit. It's one of those things that, it's interesting, Robert. I haven't got a recruiting phone call really since I went to eXp. And I was like, man, maybe people don't care anymore, but the reality is that I did think that eXp was going to be my final destination. Super, super happy. Really still love the brokerage. Nothing against the brokerage by any means.
Absolutely.
I got introduced to it back in December of 23. I had a really good friend of mine and mentor and coach was looking at the model, was kind of drilling me on questions if he was missing anything, and watched his journey. And actually in January, I signed an LOI, and it was one of those things. I have a pretty decent sized team. So it's one of those where we got to get all of our ducks in a row. And I want to make sure it's the right thing. I wanted to see behind the hood, was able to do that and watch our state of Iowa grow. And watch what our broker did there. And there's a lot of great things. And, it's one of those things that I wish I would have moved sooner than later. I waited. Like I said, I signed in January, and I wish I would have came over in February. Right.
Man, I wish I was the first in Tennessee. I'm like, it's funny. It's funny that we have that hesitation because so much of what you and I do that have made us successful is take risks. And so it's funny sometimes when everybody may look from the outside and go, these people are bold and they're risk takers. And we're over here I don't know if this is the right choice. There's a lot of things to factor in here because it is a lot. I mean, moving a brokerage, especially when you have a team and you do a lot of volume, it's labor. You have to really be sold on it. Truly, it's not so. Let me open up to some questions that I've had agents ask me, and I know they want me to ask you. So one of the biggest questions that I get is, what did you believe, especially since you, like me, had an amazing experience at eXp, amazing, great experience. So what did you believe Epique would and will do for you and your business that eXp wasn't or won't do?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's one of the biggest things that, I had to think about over this time, over the lapse of the LOI till today or till when I joined Epique, a week and a half ago, that, I had to be able to tell myself and prove it to myself that this was going to be a great move, not only for myself, but my team members. And that's the one thing that we really focus on is what is going to be in the best interest of the team. And that's the thing. After really diving into the math and talking to multiple people that had made the switch, both unbiased and biased, obviously you're going to have some people that love the company, but I also talked to people that were outside of the company looking in and talked to them about some of the stuff that I had seen. And we all came to the same conclusion that it was going to put our team members in a better position and it was going to put our team in a better position. Right. And that's the reason why we made the move. Right. I told my team that I wouldn't have made this move if I thought it was just a little bit better. It had to be a big opportunity with not only the features and benefits, but also the upside of a lot of the other things that are going on with Epique, and make sure that everyone understood the reason behind why we were doing it, right? And really, after I showed them and put them behind the hood, most of them were like, wow, this is incredible. I can't believe a brokerage is actually able to offer these services. And nothing against eXp. They provide the similar stuff that most brokerages do, right? Training. eXp has, the cloud, and they have Workplace, which Workplace was very effective for me. But I never really got into the cloud and never really got into eXp world. Most of my team members didn't either. So for $85,
I honestly, the only ones I know. And remember, I love eXp. They are so good to me. I think Glenn Sanford is peak leadership goals.
100%.
If you want a great leader in our industry, I think look nowhere else than Glenn Sanford, because I really think the only agents I know that really used eXp World were agents who recruit to EXP, and that's solely. And I don't mean that as a dog, but I'm just saying like I was a top recruiter at EXP. I never ever once used EXP World as an advantage in any way. I don't even talk about it because the truth is that that's like bringing up crypto. The average person does not have a positive perception of crypto, just like the average person does not have a positive perception of a virtual world to do business. Now, that's not to say there isn't positives. So I'm with you. I don't know anybody who actually used eXp World for the most part, but I did love Workplace. Workplace was very efficient and very effective for me to communicate with those who I needed to.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of referrals exchanging through there, a lot of good stuff. But I mean, I will tell you that even towards the end, I started having agents. Nobody would ever talk to me about the $85 fee. I'm not saying that I would tell people that it's normal, but really in all reality, it is very normal for brokerages to charge some type of monthly fee. Yeah. Right. But I had one of my office managers come to me and they're like, what is this $85 fee? And I'm like, because as a team, we don't use KB Core. We don't utilize the resources that they have. So I started to look at it and I'm like, man, for $99 a month, look at all this stuff that my power team is going to be able to get. Right. And it just was like a light bulb for some people, even though that's not even the greatest parts of all of it. Right. But the benefits are real life stuff that people use on a daily basis. And that is a huge, huge difference. There's nobody else doing value. It. I had other agents on my team. They're like, how come nobody else is doing it? And I'm like, I don't know. But this is something that we have to pay attention to. And I can tell you right now, it's going to be a disruptor in this market. It will be a disruptor in this market for sure.
I think, two things that you say are fantastic. One is, real value. It's not to say that there isn't value in what other brokerages offers. But True. Like I had someone today talking to me about United Brokerage, and they go, well, my broker's great and we have training and we have this. And I go, listen, that's like going to a restaurant and picking based off the free water they offer. It should be an expectation. No restaurant's like, by the way, we have water. That's a great reason to join, to dine at our restaurant. No, you would be like, yeah, you're supposed to have water and tables and chairs, courses, training, masterminds. All of that is literally just standard stuff. And so like when Real came around, I was like, okay, sure. As a recruiter, I could go and try and ride the hype wave, but I serve the agents first. And like you said, sure, you can say there's differences, but there's really not differences. There's not. And I'm not trying to offend anybody at Real, but between eXp and Real, there's not, you're good. Don't worry about the dog. But between eXp and Real, there's just not that much of a difference. And especially not much of a difference for the average agent. They're not going to make more money. They're not going to have more opportunity. They're almost going to be identically the same. I wanted tangible value. I wanted to be able to say, here's what you charge, and here's what you get for that. Boom, boom, boom. Black and white. No theory. Right? So
100%. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's cool. It's like it's like the conversation's so different now. So so you were looking at Epique, and having some advice, obviously wise counsel. But did you also go and look at like Real and LPT or even like 100% brokerage and say, well, what if I bought all this stuff myself?
Yeah. So I'll be honest, as far as the other options, me and a good friend of mine actually met with the owner of LPT at a conference, and phenomenal guy, phenomenal, very, very, very smart businessman.
Very smart. Robert Palmer.
I respect that model, and I think it's something that's going to be a disruptor as well. I do think that one thing I want to do is I want to be able to influence people that do want to succeed at a high level, right? And the one thing attracted about Epique is, Josh, I heard him once say, he doesn't want to be the biggest brokerage. He wants to be the best brokerage, right? And we want to attract people that want to sell real estate, right? That aren't naturally attracted to a lower cap model. So that was one of the key things I kind of looked at. When you have a lower cap model, sometimes maybe you're not going to always attract agents that are, looking to be at the best brokerage, right? They just want to be at the cheapest brokerage. And that's fine. That's why there's
right. It's not an insult. It's just who is your target audience? even for me, you know what they say, success leaves clues, right? And I looked at, because for me, I'm a go big or go home. I'm not here to be mediocre and average. I'm here to be the very best version of whatever my business can be. And I looked at who the top teams were, who the top coaches were, who the top solo agents were. And I noticed not a single one of them was at 100% brokerage. Not one of them. And I go, listen, they make a lot more money than me, and I'm going to assume they're a lot smarter than me. I'm going to just assume that because they're much more tangibly successful than I am. There's got to be a reason why none of them, not one of them, is at 100% brokerage. And perhaps part of that is mindset, which is how much can I save versus how much can I grow? How much can I scale? Did that factor in at all for you?
100%. I mean, and I will tell you that, I mean, we operate in multiple different markets. So one thing about eXp that was we liked is that the fact it was under one cap, independent brokerage. We've looked at the Remaxes of the world. We've looked at KW.
Yeah.
We've looked at the Realty Ones. That's a brokerage in our area that's done well. And really, in all reality, once again, it just came back to and that aspect that eXp at that time, was a very good option as far as not having to go under multiple caps. And we work in 5 different markets.
Yeah.
And we potentially would have had to have been in multiple different market centers.
But
I just, at that time, when we moved to eXp in March of 2019, it was just so much upside potential. But getting back to the answer to your question, we did look at other brokerage models. 100%. I'm always listening. I just never actively got recruited in my local market, but naturally, I'm a real estate coach. I deal with a lot of different people all across the country and in Canada, and have a lot of conversations about different things and different trends that are happening. I think they're all great models. We did look at that. I didn't understand really what the difference was to eXp other than maybe a little bit cheaper. And it seems like a good model, but it just doesn't seem like the best model for us. Right. The best model for us is something that actually provides opportunities to our agents, not just the team leaders, but the agents. Right.
Right.
That's one thing that, for instance, one major difference is being able to get Power Agent at Epique on a team versus being able to hit a mega icon on a team at eXp. You have to elect for a full cap.
Right.
And, just if you look at even just base numbers with Epique and what their current stock's trading at versus what it would be on a power team is a 5K cap. If they were to get that for the next 3 years, and let's say they were to go public, what would that look like? Right. Yeah. And that's another thing. Like my agents were just losing 4,000 over there, not losing. I mean, naturally they would have paid that somewhere else, but in this company, they have the ability to get that 5K back in this case. And that 5K could be a tremendous number at some point, right? They have the ability.
And even if it's not a tremendous number, right? Because I want people to listen to know, like, we're not here for wishy-washy, dreamy, starry-eyed stuff. We're practical, serious. And like, here's the thing. One of the things I realized, because I run a top 10 team here in Tennessee, is I realized that when the brokerage puts good assets for solo agents only, what happens is they become in competition with the retention rate of my own team. Because when eXp says you can't be icon unless you basically leave the team, I don't want eXp to recruit agents off my team. I want a brokerage that says I'm going to actually help you grow and scale and increase your profit margins on your team, right? When a brokerage, I talked about this in another video I did, when a brokerage offers leads, Opcity, Zillow, the common ones that people use, and they tag on a fee, whether that fee is directly from the provider or the brokerage themselves, once again, they're becoming competition with me, the team leader. They're competing with me because now the brokerage is adding a referral fee to the leads they provide agents on my team, if they do, on top of the team split, on top of the brokerage split, which makes them in competition with me. So I'm with you on that. Like, the fact that agents on a team can still earn their cap back in stock is, while being on a team, is just so special, because it's like the brokerage is no longer competing with you.
100%. Yeah, and they have the ability to get double rev share if that's something that they're interested in too, at hitting Power Agent. I just think that
Yeah,
it's just a great add-on, like you said. We don't want to speculate, but if things do happen, it's something they weren't getting before, and there could be a potential, a great upside for them at some point in the future.
absolutely. Yeah,
Gifted.
yeah.
And
I
I will
agree.
tell you, majority of our team member is investing into the stock program. So it's one of those things that we feel that there's a good trajectory, and we're going to continue to keep doing so. So.
I love it. Yeah, I'm always doing it, man. I'm always doing that too. Because I believe in the model. I wouldn't have spent so much time. Things were so good at EXP, so there was no reason for me to risk everything to come over and build again. But I believe that this is the next evolution, like what KW did. For those who don't know, like KW was an amazing industry disruptor. They're really the reason we have caps at a very national level, actually global level even. KW was really a great purveyor of caps. Profit share was revolutionary when it came out, and then EXP came on and then kind of made the next leg of the evolution of real estate brokerages. And I think now Epic's here and saying, okay, here's what the next leg looks like now. And I think that's exciting because we're seeing LPT now, even though they were ahead of Epic when it comes to growth, they're adopting what Epic is doing. EXP is trying to adopt what Epic is doing. And so that shows us in a complementary way, in a good way, that Epic is doing something good for our industry. It's increasing the benefits that are going to agents. Everybody wins,
One
you
hundred
know?
percent, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's not. I'll be honest. The conversations that I have with people about this, and I've been having them with a lot of different brokerages. It's not just one. It's not just people. There's all over,
Yeah.
right? It's not any specific brokerage, but I will tell you that the conversation when people reach out to me, it's like, how can they provide these benefits? We get into the actual nuts and bolts of what's happening, and I don't even really have to convince, or not even convincing. I'm just having a conversation, and at the end of it, they're like, "Well, why wouldn't I do this?" Right? And that's really what a lot of
Yep.
people have, that aha moment. They're like, "Wait a second." Right? I know a guy that brought his entire team over that what they did is they watched a video about Epic in their sales meeting, and at the end of it, the team's like, "Well, why aren't we there yet?" Right? And it's like
It's so
that's
black and white.
yeah, yeah.
It's not confusing. You're not convincing an agent, well, if you do 50 deals, you could hit icon, but then you have to do the cultural. And then, again, this is not an insult to EXP because Epic, I 100% believe Epic would not be here without EXP. I absolutely. So credit where credit is due. Glenn Sanford, truly an industry legend, and I love EXP. I genuinely do. I think they're amazing, but it's a very complicated conversation for an average agent to understand the benefit of joining EXP. It's complicated. Rev share? Well, not really. Most agents won't benefit from that. Stocks? You really think EXP is going to go up enough? And even if they do go up a lot, remember that agents buy in typically through the deals they do. And if the average agent is only doing 4 deals a year, they're just not going to have enough stock for it to matter at all. Okay, so then what else are they really tangibly getting? And that's where you, like you said, like that's where you go, well, dang, like, what is there? What's left? Training? Well, everyone has training. Okay. Community? Well, you have communities everywhere. Like, what is it? What's left? And then Epic, it's like, dude, this and this and this and this and this and this. And you just, yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this though. How about LPT then? What made you not go to LPT? You had a conversation with Robert Palmer. You know he's a brilliant businessman. What made you not do LPT versus Epic?
I think it has a lot to do with, once again, trying to be at a place that's got the best agents, right? And I think that, like I said, I think that they do, but generally I was a little deterred by the low cap model. I knew that the low cap model would help for some people. Obviously, I think that they need to look at the full picture, right? Is somebody going into to be an agent influencer? Are they going into be an agent? Are they going to do a mix?
Yeah.
Because it's definitely different there. And I think the main thing was Robert is bringing people into the organization that really want to sell real estate,
Yeah.
or maybe they're an investor that like the tools or features of
Yeah.
what Epic has. And I just think it provides true benefits. Although I will say that they got buy box and listing boxes and stuff like that.
Which are
They have
cool.
a lot of assets that they provide at LPT.
Yeah.
Definitely a revolutionary type company, but I think that with what I could attract to Epic is the type of agents that I want to surround myself with, and really grow a network and collaborate and really figure out what we need to do to help people get what they want in life. Right.
I think that's
So,
so important. And I love that you had that laser focus, because that's kind of your compass, right? When you're recruiting agents, when you're building a team, when you're building just your real estate business in general, like, you need to have that vision of what aligns with what I'm trying to accomplish. Otherwise, you'll just be distracted and you'll be chasing things that maybe by themselves are good, but may not be the best for your business. So I love that you have that vision and focus. So you talked to some people to kind of help you decide on this massive decision. Who are some of the people, if you don't have to drop names if you don't want to, but who are some of the people, spouses? For instance, I talked to my CPA, right, about the finances, and a financial planner about the finances of Epic, right? So who are some of the people you went and sought counsel from?
well, the main one was my COO, right? So Marcus is the one that's behind the scenes, running everything, and he really takes a deep dive and analyzes everything. We really try to look at every single scenario. Is this going to just be put me in a better position, or does it put everyone in a better position? And if it does, how much better position, right? And really
Mm,
getting a core focus on that. I have a lot of praise for my upline, Lee Garland. Lee was instrumental in getting me to understand the model, explain the model, and answer any questions that I had. Nicole Gaudet and Jason Lash,
I know
are
Jason.
yeah, so they've been instrumental in this process too. They came over before me, and we've been working together for a long time, and I really trust their opinions.
Mm.
And really just trying to digest what experiences they had. As fast as I saw Jason go, I knew that it had to be a great opportunity. Jason is a math whiz, definitely a numbers guy, very into stock.
Yeah.
And just to see the excitement that he had once he fully understood. That's the thing, is I think a lot of people don't fully understand the model. They see people post stuff about these benefits, but they're like, okay, whatever. I would highly encourage that you just take the time just to learn the model and
Yes.
understand the whole thing, right? Rather than just understanding that we get car washes or we get this or
It's part
that
of
or
why
the
I
other.
do the videos that I do, is that, I do a deep dive into the different aspects of it. I try to do really good comparisons too, because as humans, we just do better. Like, here's where I'm at, here's where I could be. What's the real black and white difference? Tangible, true difference between the two, because it's a hard question, and but it is an important question to answer. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. A lot of praise to Sam Rodriguez too. Sam was with me from the beginning as far as answering questions, and certainly Josh and Janice and
Yeah.
Chris, all of them, really a stand-up crew on the ownership side, and obviously Sam's been helping them, been instrumental in the growth of this company thus far, and that's the key thing I am seeing, is that the collaboration is there, man.
Yeah.
It's on a different level. I know one thing that I've seen in your videos before: culture is what you make of it, right? So the reality is that you don't go to a brokerage for culture; you surround yourself by people for culture, right? That's the key.
Yes,
That's
that's
the key
right.
thing. And but I've been very, very happy with managing broker, the owners, everything thus far. We've been getting answers. I literally had an issue with some tech that I wanted to get answered. I put a response in at 9 o'clock, and I got a response back by like 10:45 p.m. It was like 9 p.m. to 10:45 p.m. It was pretty amazing. I was like, wow, that was pretty
Yeah.
lightning fast. But my
I
broker helped.
remember that. I love the stories you're saying, right? So I remember that there was a transactional issue that I was having, and the fact that I could go straight to Josh Miller, for those who don't know, CEO, founder of Epique Realty, the fact that I could go straight to him, and then a week later, the transactional staff, he had hired more to make sure that because of their growth, this would not be an issue. And it was just like, he had built in excuses that I would have accepted. I understand what growing pains are. I have had startup companies before. I do have a startup company. So I would expect that there would be issues. But the fact that I could go directly to him, and then he's like, not only going to listen to you, right, and have empathy and compassion, I'm actually going to do something about the problems that you're actually facing. Because for everyone listening, like no brokerage is perfect. What you should be looking for isn't whether a brokerage is perfect, but rather how do they respond to difficulties? How do they respond to challenges? Are they listening? Are they proactive and then responsive to it, or are they defensive? Are they ignoring you? So I
Yeah.
love that you said that.
No, they've definitely been very receptive to the comments and the stuff from the area leaders in our area, and it's been a good experience. And just like anything, when I went to eXp in 2019, it was a little bit of a bumpy ride for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of set that expectation, but to be honest with you, our staff and everything that we've had has been pretty seamless. We only had, as far as transfer form, we had a lot of stuff to transfer. There's only one document, so it was very, very simple, and it was.
It was
And we
nice.
even got our board to copy clone our listing. So it was like the simplest thing. And, much, it seemed much easier than the last time. And I've only moved, this is my third brokerage, right? 5.5 years at the first one, 5.5 years at eXp, and then found
And now you're
Epique.
here.
Found Epique.
Now you're here. Okay. So you have your team. How many agents are on your team roughly?
24.
24. And obviously, I don't know about you, but breaking this kind of news to a team, at least for me, I'll be honest, I'll be transparent. It's a little nerve wracking. It's like I had no idea if I was going to be able to communicate the value in a way that they would understand. I think that was one of my big concerns. It wasn't that the value wasn't there, was can I communicate it in a way that they understand simply? So when you were preparing to deliver this to the team, what was kind of going through your head?
Oh, I was definitely nervous for sure, and I knew that when we made that decision, it had to be a decision that I could stick by, a decision that I would not regret, a decision that's going to change my life and the people that surround myself with.
Yeah.
It was tough, and I'll be honest, going into it, I knew that we would have some attrition. We'd have naturally some people that
Yeah.
would, that would go in a different direction. And we knew that. But we knew that this was the best decision for everything involved, and we had to move forward with it. So it was very nerve wracking. And we kind of got the expectations of what the results we thought or what actually happened. And you know what? We're 100% comfortable and feel good about it, right? And there were a couple people that decided not to come, and we hope that eventually they will follow us to Epique.
That's right.
And sometimes timing's not everything, and it's not something that you can really sit on for a while, right? So it's kind of a 2-day notice or 1-day notice, and you're moving. So it's a little bit too quick for some people, but I'll tell you that majority of the people, the light bulb went off, and they're like, "Holy smokes, man! This is the real deal," and I understand why we're doing it.
It kind of goes back to what you said earlier too, like, and it's not an insult to those who didn't move, but rather you are attracting a certain type of person, and a certain type of person has a level of risk tolerance that has to, to a degree, be close to yours, because as a team leader, you're going to take a lot of risk compared to the average agent and the average person. Mm-hmm. And you need agents who want to come in and trust and adapt with you, because they're going to reap the benefits when these risks produce results, right? When there is a harvest that they will be able to take part of. And so what are some of the things that you found agents were genuinely excited about, right? So obviously you've had plenty of conversations with them. You broke the news. What are some of the things that they were telling you, like, I'm specifically excited about this?
So for sure, I mean, a lot of people, simple things like car washes, the vet, the healthcare, prescriptions, putting the sign out, right? Getting a sign put out in the yard for them. Photos, we've already taken care of that. But there's just the tangible benefits of stuff that they're paying for right now. And it eliminated some of their bills, especially for the difference of what we were paying at the previous brokerage to what they're paying now. It's the math 100% makes sense. I'm going to pay $15 more, or if you had a website through eXp, really it's only like $2 to $5 more,
right?
For the agents on a power team. And it just, at the end of the day, everything they were excited about, right? They're excited about change. I will tell you that, nothing against eXp, but like you said, there's not really a whole lot for an agent to get as a benefit other than a reduced cap. right? So I think that there was some people that just, they didn't really care. Didn't care about the brokerage. They just wanted to be a part of the team, which that's naturally what happens. Leaders attract, right?
Yep.
They don't really care where the brokerage is at. But I think that when they found that there was these opportunities to actually get real life benefits that they were paying for on a monthly basis, that I think that was kind of an eye-opening experience. And then when we talked about all the other opportunities that could potentially come with it, they, a majority of them were on board, and really there wasn't a whole lot of conversation or questions. Right, we made people aware that they have the day of choices, and at that point, it's up to them whether or not they want to do. And we hope that you come with us. So,
I found, and I still find this. So for those who don't know, I recruit a lot. I recruit on average an agent a day to Epique. And I found these conversations are so much easier because they're just so black and white. And I found that it's so much easier for team leaders and producers because, again, it's black and white. They're very simple. Does it increase my net profit? Does it offset my time? Does it how does it tangibly benefit me? Now, if they're at eXp, I've got to teach them about rev share and stocks and maybe making icon. And they're going to have to essentially take on extra jobs. Now they're going to have to become a recruiter to access some of the benefits that make eXp worth it. Just being honest, right? That's the truth. When I turn around and go to a top producer or team leader and I go, by the way, your transaction coordinator is taken care of, your signed, yard placement, social media ads on your listing, leads to your team, but you're not competing with the brokerage because the brokerage isn't taking an extra split or fee. When I start giving them that, they go, wait a second, I pay for that, I pay for that, I pay for that, I pay for that, I pay for that. I can't afford to offer that. And I go, that's all included. It just makes the conversation easier because it's just like, I'm actually helping them. I'm actually helping them with the everyday things that they already use. Like you said, you already pay for, or they already pay for. And I'm saying, let me help with that. It's just, yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, with that being said, what are some of the ways as a team leader, Epique helps with your net profit?
Well, naturally, we reduce the cost of some of the expenses that we have as far as photography goes, some of the back end stuff as far as moving to Lofty, and really, some of just the tech portion of it. Naturally, I will tell you though, as far as those percentages go, because I think there's some team members might be out there seeing this. They are nominal cost. That is real life money. But it's one of those things that allows the team leader to reinvest into other things that will be able to create more opportunities, right? Rather than having to focus on some of this tech cost, they can divert some of those funds over to other things that will provide more opportunity for the team. So, but naturally, sign placement, photography, TC services, we are in the process of transitioning some of our stuff to the TC services. Obviously, we've been running the same thing for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's a little nerve-wracking, especially when we have a bunch of deals at the previous brokerage still with our previous agents and stuff like that. So, but we're just trying to get through all that. And then we're really trying to embrace and use all things Epique. That's one thing that I really want to focus on is and really engulfing into their tech and utilizing the pricing discounts. Just for instance, a lot of my buddies with Chime or Lofty, they're saving the $250. I think it's a $200 or $250 a month for the team account. They were paying some of them from $1,500 to $2,000 a month, right? So these are real life savings, right? Yeah. On photography, we spent on average anywhere between $35,000 to $45,000 a year. So, it starts to add up. So it's a little different. Once again, photography covers 25 pictures, but for a lot of houses that could work. And then,
for most houses, you're doing more than 25. You're stretching it. Like what else is there to see?
Yeah, they're just trying to get more, right?
Here's the one single rose on the rose bush. like what, after 25 pictures, what else do you need to see for the average house?
I just like to tell people that just so that way they're not like, oh, that's what it gets. But majority of the time, that's going to do the deal. And
I always tell
in our area, they've been great. Like the company that they chose and that they're partnering with is phenomenal. They've really chosen top-notch companies to help with the stuff they're doing. It's not like second-rate stuff where they're finding the cheapest bidder. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure they get purchasing power, but Boulevard Media, the company that helps them, has done a great job on
I agree.
making sure we have
I was
good
nervous about it.
vendors.
I was skeptical because I have good photographers here. And
Hmm.
so it was kind of scary to turn around. And again, I mean, I've never had a brokerage that actually helps me in my business.
Hmm.
I have a brokerage that, and again, I had a great experience at eXp. I've been at Keller Williams. It's not that they were bad brokerages. I would never say that they're wonderful brokerages, but I've just never had a brokerage doing work with me, helping me with the actual work, right? Like, hey, I'm going to make sure your cars look good with car washes. People can laugh at that, but I don't feel good when I show up to a listing with bird poop and dust and pollen all over my car. I don't feel good. And I know that the client looking out the window, they see me like that. And subconsciously, there is a level where they look no different than if someone's super smart, but they decide to wear a hat backwards and they sag their pants. People will. We're superficial at first. Sure. Over time, we might say, oh, that person's super smart and they're really awesome. But our initial impression is that they're not taking care of themselves. They're not presenting themselves. So when you show up with a car and it's covered in bird poop and pollen, which a lot of times mine has been, and you look that way, right? They do notice. People do notice. That helps. And so the idea that I'm like, they'll look better, they'll perform better, their net profit's going to be better. Everybody really wins. And I think, and I want your thoughts on this, with the buyer broker stuff happening now, and a lot of agents worried about, am I going to make a buyer's agent a commission anymore, and blah, 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 right? I think the idea that Epique's helping to increase the buyer's agent net profit as well allows buyer's agents to be a little more flexible in their negotiations with their clients.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I also think that buyers agents that know their value proposition are going to be able to succeed at a high level with this change, right? And that's the thing that we're making people aware is that you know what it's about how you hold yourself up,
Yep.
knowing your value proposition, and be able to explain it to people in which they understand,
I
right?
actually have
So
one or two questions I'm going to ask you on that in just a second. But let me ask you this too, okay? Because again, you're a rare team leader, right? There are very few teams that reach your level. And you're a champion. I love that you're very open and vocal about sharing that with others. I think it's awesome. So how do you feel from a team leader's perspective that Epique helps with your agent attraction and retention goals for the team?
100%, man. This is actually a really big decision that we made. Once again, no pun on EXP, but we had issues. Naturally, you're going to have attrition, right? 30% attrition on the team, especially if it's a decent size. That's going to happen, right? Now, 24 to 30 months, people are starting to look at, is this time for me to go out, or maybe it's time to get out of the business? One of the two, depending on what activity. It's an activity-based business, right?
Yeah,
You got to
absolutely.
do the reps. But getting back to that, that was one of the things that we definitely thought about when going to Epique. Naturally, when we first started at eXp, we didn't really have an issue when we had attrition. People would stay at eXp, but over the last couple of years, they did not start to stay. I think that they realized there was other options in which maybe they would have a little different culture or whatever the case may be. So at Epique, when people potentially think that it's time for them to go out on their own, they're much more likely to stay because of the services provided. So, I mean, I really do think it's going to help keep people long term, 100%. And that's something that I've gone back and forth on, and just looking at it, and looking at the cons of what was happening at the previous brokerage.
Yeah.
I don't think I think this is a final destination until, and it's possible somebody creates something different, but I really think that right now, well, what they're doing in this business, when people see it, it's hard to unsee it. I know
Yeah.
that's cliche for a lot of brokerages, but it's very true. And I think that it's whether or not a team member is going to stay on my team forever is probably not likely, but it's a great place for them to stay long term. So
Yeah.
that's
I think that's such an important thing to really emphasize, even in a personal level. Like, okay, so I was at eXp. I did well at eXp. I had a great experience at eXp. Same for Keller Williams, right? Again, I really don't have bad things to say. I mean, I have a couple bones to pick with a couple brokerages, but we won't get into that. Um, but none of them impacted my personal life either. But the fact that like my wife's prescriptions now are being paid. And I have health insurance, just for everyone listening. I have health insurance, and I had health insurance before I came to Epique. And some of those things weren't covered by my health insurance that are covered by the prescriptions. So now my wife's benefiting, dental and vision. I have 2 kids, and then my wife and myself. Anybody who buys dental insurance, just so you know, like you're gonna be paying some money, and you're not gonna get much for it. The fact that I'm paying $25 a month for myself for dental and vision, my wife has glasses, and I can add her, and I can add my kids. I mean, my personal life, people who have nothing to do with real estate, they're actually directly impacted by the association I have with a brokerage. That's the first time ever in my career that I've ever the impact in my personal life directly. Mm-hmm. And I mean, so I'm curious for you, like for you, your agents. I mean, I know you're brand new to Epique, but have you been looking or even thinking, factoring in some of the personal life benefits, family benefits?
100%. And we've actually already gone through with one of the things that we wanted to make sure our team understood is that when we got to Epique, we wanted them to take full advantage of Epique. So first thing we did was get into the Epique cloud, take them to the benefits page, show them exactly where they needed to start signing up for things, right? It's powerful. Once you get on that page, you're like, holy smokes.
I know.
That got cost on this. Yeah. I'm going to get my own billboard. Like, and you start to think about that in our area, to typically get on, you're going to be $900 to $1,100 to get some type of slide on it. Their real life stuff, their friends get to see it. They put it in areas where, you want it to be most likely, if it's available.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's much more than just the health. It's much more than just the prescriptions. It's the accumulation of everything.
Everything.
Right.
Yeah. I had an agent the other day kind of tease me a little bit. He was at another brokerage, and he's like, yeah, I saw your billboard, and it wasn't as great as it could be. And I said, oh man, dang. Okay. Hey, where's your billboard, by the way? I said, listen,
at the end of the day, it's relevance, right?
I believe the most known agent is the agent who gets the most deals. Yeah. If they see me, for anybody listening, by the way, people don't call off billboards. Okay. That is not what a billboard actually is for, unless you have a campaign designed for it, right? Like you have a limited time, scan this QR code, go to this website, and you have only the next 30 days. Otherwise, billboards are for brand awareness. People need to know who you are. They need to trust you. And part of that trust is that they see you, they hear you, they have their presence, so that when they go to make a decision, right? If there's 5 real estate agents in the room, you, for some reason, stand out to them because they have seen you, they have heard of you, even if they've never directly talked to you. There's so much power in that.
100%. I agree. Right. Don't get me wrong. We've ran billboards with USPs, instant offers, and stuff like this, but this is a nice added benefit. Yeah. And it's for all of our team members. We're super excited about it. I think.
Well, on the listing billboard too, that helps when I personally go to listing appointments. Like, again, the average agent cannot turn around and say, by the way, your home will be on a listing billboard. Like, it's going to be on a billboard. Owners already have a sense of pride in their home. I mean, I've had owners who have totally unkept homes, to put it politely, who still have this sense of pride that their home is made of gold. So when you could turn around as a listing agent and come in and be like, by the way, this home of yours, I'm going to put it on a billboard for you. They go, whoa, what? They've never even, the concept of having anything in their life ever on a billboard. This will be the one time in their life, until they sell with you again, the one time in their life where something they have that's theirs is going to be on this level of prestige. And that actually helps. And then I go, by the way, I'll have social media ads running for every open house. But for every, if we just when it first is listed, I'm going to have social media ads targeted to the perfect buyers for this home running. And they go, wait, what are you talking about? Because the average agent doesn't even know how to run an ad. So when Epic turns around and says, I'll run ads automatically for you for free, and I can bring that to a listing appointment and say, this is what I give you, that's huge,
Right.
huge
Absolutely.
value. Right. I mean, I mean, from your perspective, I get carried away if you can't tell, but I get hyped up talking to
It's so
you. I'm like, yes.
dude, like I said, I'm still unpacking everything that they do. And we're diving into as far as the social media platform and Social Bay and all of that. My marketing department, I'll have to brief with them, but it's the reality is that it's a suite not only for you but your clients, right? And I think that's what some people are like. Well, that's great. They provide all these added benefits to the agent, but what the client get,
Yeah.
right? You talked about listing billboards. They put out social media ads. They do a lot of stuff on the back end to make sure we have the assets necessary to portray your house in a positive manner.
All right. So then, we're coming to a close right here. So I have a question that, if a mega team leader like yourself is listening, okay, they're listening to this now and hasn't already been convinced by your incredible story, right? Everything that you've been sharing about, very tangible, again, realistic. This is what's so nice, is that you're not speaking from a bunch of emotions. You're not speaking from theory. You're saying, listen, we did the math. We did a direct comparison. We did a research of other brokerages, and this one just checked out. So what's one thing you would say to them to inspire them to just open up their minds, not convince them, just open up their minds to the idea of change?
Yeah, I think it's really understanding the model entirely, right? And that's the key thing. I think sometimes when they look at it from the surface, and I'll just be honest, one thing that they look at is a transaction fee that's attached to it. Actually, Robert does a great job. He has a video out there that I actually showed my team when moving over, and he didn't even know that. I told
I
him that
did not
when he
know
reached
that.
out to me about this, and he had a great video explaining the difference of commissions for most people and what the relevance would be. And I think that that's one of the things that it didn't slow me down, but I didn't understand the model entirely. When I saw Lee go, I was like, man, if he's doing this, is something that I really need to look into. When Jason went, it's like, wow, this is something that really is
Yeah.
actually moving. I've been watching Nicole, Omar Harper, a lot of different people come over so
Kyle
far.
Robinson.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like you said, I was a little slow. I was a little reluctant. I wanted to make sure that the kinks or what kinks I could see were potentially worked out. And I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that, my team was going to come over to a healthy environment and that I truly did believe it was in the best interest. And every time I kept coming back to it, Marcus, my COO, he's like, Kyle, we got to do this. We got to do this. And I was a
Dang.
little
Shout
slow,
out to
like you said.
Marcus then for pushing for the
Yeah,
best. I
100%.
love it.
100%. And, I really thank him. And then my sister, Nicole Kaiser, huge support. It's one of those things. She's kind of like my mom. And it's one of, she wanted to fully understand it. And that's one of those things. My sister doesn't make decisions lightly. She wants to really understand them. And we went over the last several months of filling in and answering questions that she had. And at the end of it, she's like, Kyle, this is the right thing to do. And that's when we put on full gas, and we were very, very happy with what the decision that were made. And if I was a team leader, like I said, getting back to that is fully understanding the model and what it will do and the relevance, not only for you as the team leader, but also your team members.
I love that.
I truly think it'll put them in a better position, not only from the features and benefits, but also from the ability to hit power agent. There's possible outcomes with stock. Just in general, I think
Yeah.
it's going to put them in a better position. And if you do have attrition, they're going to stay at a brokerage in which they'll probably stay long term.
Honestly, so I love that you said that, because a lot of things that are not talked about as team leaders, and nobody told me, no brokerage ever told me this. Most gurus didn't tell me this. Shout out though to John Cheplack, which I learned about later in my career, but shout out to Cheplack, who's real. And he talks about the real stuff, but I didn't know this. I have to recruit as a team leader, and I have to be monitoring attrition as a team leader. Nobody taught me anything about that stuff. Everybody was happy I was starting a team and had great production and was making them money, but nobody taught me this basic stuff. And going through these years of building a team, having recruiting and attrition and learning, for the first time ever, the brokerage is helping me to attract agents and retain agents. Because like you said, now when an agent is looking to leave, They're not just going and saying, oh, who's the next cheapest model? Who's the next cheapest option? They've already explored those. They've known those has existed. They're at Epique for totally different reasons. Like you said, we're attracting a different type of agent, and them leaving, they have to turn around and go, hold on, I'm going to lose healthcare, prescriptions, mental health care, vet care, agent billboard, listing billboard, social media ads, roadside assistance, car washes, buyer and seller leads. Wait a second. How on earth on my own or anywhere else could I ever replicate this? Wow.
Facts.
Wow. Right. Okay. We got like 2 minutes left. So let me ask you totally non-Epique related questions. Have you as a team leader, because this is a big conversation, so I want to throw it out there. Have you as a team leader had to have any conversations with the buyer rep agreement changes that are taking effect? Have you had any conversations around those?
With team members or clients?
As a team leader to your agents for their clients, if you will.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we obviously have meetings a lot, and then I've had to have conversations where I've come on and helped agents, obviously mock up what it would be with the buyer. And we've had some buyers ask questions about it. For the most part, everyone's been pretty cool and understanding. But, naturally, we're going to have people that want to go out and shop themselves and feel like they're 100% comfortable with it. And we're totally fine with that.
Yeah, welcome to Business 101. I mean, we're in a free market. There's competition.
Absolutely, yeah. But I feel like our team is very prepared for what's to come. And actually, to be honest, our brand new agents or the newer agents, they've been doing this from the get-go. So they already feel comfortable. They've already adopted this as their business practice.
Yeah.
And it's just another conversation. It's just a different conversation. That's really what it boils down to. And really, buyers shouldn't be fearful. Buyer agency was created to protect buyers. And I hope that continues to happen, right? So I think there's true value in having separate representation. And I think that I don't think it's going anywhere. It's just, know your value proposition and know how you have that conversation and just be confident in yourself. That's the key thing. Confidence goes a long ways.
Again, I love that repeatedly through our conversation, you talk about value. It's like, if you can't turn around and justify the value that you charge, then maybe there's a problem between the correlation of what you're charging and the value you bring. And you have to reflect. We have to have that humility. I've coached thousands of agents now, and I can tell you so many go, like, I'm sure you'll resonate with this. I go, okay, who do you want to work with? Right? Agent comes to me, whether they're even senior agents, right, who are experienced. Who do you want to work with? Well, I love first-time home buyers. Okay. What do you do different for first-time home buyers? Well, I'm going to teach them. Okay, so are you implying that other agents aren't going to teach them? Well, no. Okay. All right, so give me something else that you do for first-time home buyers, specifically for first-time home buyers. Well, I'm going to be patient and kind. Wait, so are you saying that you wouldn't be patient and kind otherwise? Give me something. What is your value? How are you any different than every other? You really think that every other agent out there isn't saying, I love working with first-time home buyers. I'm going to teach them. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be nice, right? Like we said with Epique, tangible value. What are you going to do for me that actually helps me get ahead to accomplish my goals? And so I love that you just keep saying, you need to know your value proposition, because then you will know how much to charge.
100%. Price is only an issue in the absence of value, right? And it's just one of those things that continue to keep working on it. And if you have problems, give me a call and we can have a conversation about why you are valuable and why you should charge what you charge.
I think what I'm hearing is you and I need to have another call where we kind of talk about like the value proposition. Because I mean, again, from a mega team leader perspective that you're in, you have data that's extremely valuable because you have agents that are out there going and putting into practice the changes that other agents are afraid of making. And so to be able to turn around and maybe in 30 days or something, you and I will get together again and we could do a session where we just talk about, hey, here's what we're seeing happening with the agents on the team. Here's the objections we're getting and how we're handling them. I think that would be, if you're open to it.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. I'd love to do something like that.
I'd love that, man. Well,
it's going to keep evolving and keep changing. And it's one of those things. It's just about having conversation and collaboration, and we'll all get through this just fine.
I
So
love it, man. And for any team leaders listening right now, feel free to drop questions and comments. And what I'll do is I'll compile them, and I'll get on with Kyle again, and we'll get some of those answers for you from Kyle. And Kyle, I can't thank you enough for taking time. I think that brokerage changes are really hard, and instead of trying to sell people again, you're just sharing real facts. And I think that's just so much easier. It's okay, guys, if you don't want to come to Epic, but like he said, go inform yourself so that you make an informed decision, so that you can say, I know why it doesn't fit my business, not I'm afraid it won't.
100%. I think it's amazing in life how many people are reluctant to have a conversation with somebody about something that's different,
Yeah.
right? And I can tell you this right now that we're very versed in different industries and in the real estate industry, and I'm always willing to listen to somebody. The decisions that I've made in life that have positively affected me and negatively affected me, or things in which didn't have in front of me, but I was willing to listen and be open. And really, in all reality, with those decisions have really changed the trajectory of my entire life.
You,
Right. So,
you know what it makes me think of that kind of makes me laugh every time I see it is when people, I've seen this many times, so it's not just one brokerage, when they go, I'm unrecruitable. And I go, oh, okay, so you're a fossil in the making. Because the reality is that, listen, before Costco, there was a different model. And before that model, there was a different model. And there were models that were well before Epic and well before. Like you said early in the call, you are always listening. I am recruitable. I'm just not easy to recruit because I've got it good. But I'm recruitable. If there is a better option, even if I don't want to move, I didn't want to go to Epic. I had no desire. I was not looking. Literally, my business partner, Chris Rains, was like, hey, man, I'm going to leave eXp. And I drove to his house to talk him out of it and basically call him an idiot and say, you got it too good. What are you doing? And then he asked me, he knew he would get me with this. At least take a look. And he knows I will, because I'm that guy. I'm the research guy. I'm the deep dive. I'm your Marcus, right? That you said it was Marcus, right? That did the deep dive.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
the Marcus, right? And so I did. And I was like, oh, dang it. Like, no. So anyway, I could talk to you forever, Kyle. I really can't.
The truth, though, Robert, once you see it, you can't unsee it, man. And
It's
that's
brutal.
the thing.
I was so angry.
Be open-minded and be willing to talk to people about different things in life, right? It will really change your life. I promise you. Even if you decide not to change what you're doing, always be open to having conversations.
Absolutely. And let's put it there. Go watch some of the videos I put out there. Kyle said they're good, so there you go. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's say you don't want to move to Epic. Take what you learned from those videos and go ask your brokerages to level up their support for you then. Go push them to prove what you're paying them for. I'm all for that. Go do it. Let's do it. So Kyle, thank you again for just being on, man. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you having me on.